And moving on to Splinter. Splinter, the shortest of the figures in this new line. He's pretty cool looking. He comes with this this sword in a sheath. So you got, there you go. You can pull the sword out of the sheath and give him his sword to fight with. Now, there's nowhere to put the sheath at, so I typically just have him holding it. It's just a soft rubber piece, and I typically just have him holding it. So I suppose I've seen where where was it that I saw somebody that had a sword and he would pull it out of his sheath, fight with the sword in one hand while holding the sheath in the other, and sometimes even using the sheath as a weapon just to hit people with it. I don't know where I saw that somewhere, but anyway, you could do that as well and have him just hold both, just like that. He also, the other accessory that he comes with is this little necklace here, and I'll just take it off real quick so we can get close and hopefully focus on this. Come on, focus. There it is. So check that out. He's got this little necklace, and it's got a little turtle symbol on it. So I know we've seen this turtle symbol before. It's going to be used in the movie, so we don't know what that means yet, but we'll find out when we get there, I suppose. He's got the same symbols on his robe. If you look at his robe, he's got a little turtle symbol there and there. Going all the way around the back, his robe's got some writing on the back there. I'm not sure what that means. As far as articulation goes, he's got side to side on the head. Now, the head is not ball jointed like the rest of the turtles were. So you can only do side to side. Again, though, because he is a hunched figure, he suffers from the same thing that the other turtles did, where if you try to look to the side, all he's going to be doing is tilting his head. So you pretty much, looking straight forward is all you're going to really get out of this guy. You got a universal joint at the shoulder there, so you can go up and down. You are a little bit hindered by the top of the robe here, so he doesn't get his arm all the way up quite as much, but you can go all the way around with him. You've got a bend, or not a bend, you've got a swivel right above the elbow there, so you can turn his arm around. His elbow is already bent, and there is nothing you can do about this angle. That's the angle it's at, and that's where it's going to stay. He does, however, have a wrist swivel, which is something none of the turtles had. So that's actually pretty cool. Over on the legs, he's got good leg articulation as well. He's got universal joints down at the hips, and however, and he's also got a rotation. But the robe, again, the robe really hinders the posability on this figure. Now, the robe does have these two slits on the back, so it does help to bring the feet out through there so that you can get him on some nice stances. But you're not going to get a whole lot of posability out of his legs because of that robe being there. He's also got the tail, and the tail is just a soft piece of rubber. It does have a pivot at the base where it's mounted into the figure, but again, it's mounted approximately right up about here, so there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do with that because of the robe. The robe really hinders any movement on the legs or the tail or any part of his lower body, really. So it's just going to be his arms. His arms move around, and then you can give him his weapon and kind of pose him that way. So there's one last look at Master Splinter by himself. And then we'll compare him with the original figure for Splinter and the current Nicktoons Turtles Master Splinter. Now here we have the new April O'Neil, and I like the way the figure looks. I like the yellow jacket with the blue jeans and the tall boots. It's kind of a callback to the old April that wore the yellow, but at the same time it's kind of a modern look, and I like it. I kind of enjoy the look of this figure itself. As far as accessories go, she comes with these two sai. I don't know why she comes with sai, and I'm rhyming, but it's okay because the trenchcoat Raph did not. So I usually just give these guys to trenchcoat Raph just for the shot of the video here. I had him with her. And then she also comes with this, she comes with a camera, which is actually a pretty realistic, pretty cool looking camera that actually fits into her hand and she can hold pretty well. And now she wants to make me look bad because I'm shooting the video. And she's going to make me look bad. So let's put it in this hand. So there you go. So she can hold the camera in her hand pretty well. And then she's also got this little bag that she comes with. Just a little camera bag. And I spent some time yesterday just flinging it over her shoulder. So there you go. There's a little camera bag. Unfortunately, I would have really liked if this bag opened up so that you could actually put the camera inside of the bag. That would have been really nice, but it doesn't do that, unfortunately. So there's nothing. What are you going to do? As far as the figure goes, articulation-wise, you got the head is on a ball joint, so the head would be able to move around. However, it is hindered a lot by the hair. So as you can see, I can kind of get her looking to the side a little bit, from side to side. But you've got all the hair that's going all the way around the figure, and that does kind of hinder some of the movement that you're going to be able to do with the figure. As far as the shoulders go, once again, we've got universal joints on the shoulder, so you can go up and down, and you got a full rotation. No elbows, but you do have a wrist. So she does what Master Splinter did, where you lost the elbow articulation, but you gained a wrist rotation. She also has a waist rotation, which is the first of all the figures that we looked at so far. She's the first one to have a waist articulation. So there you go. That's actually pretty cool. Universal at the hips, but it's weird because you can't bring the legs straight out. You can only bring them. It's kind of like on a hinge rotation. I'm not sure exactly how this is working. It's a swivel pin. It's a swivel hinge on a pin, so you can rotate it, and then you can swivel it up and down. But it doesn't let you bring the leg straight out unless she's pointing her boot up, and I don't know why you would want to do that. So that's the leg articulation, and but sadly, no knee bend, no knee rotation, nothing at the ankles. So it kind of does make her difficult to stand, and I was actually having a hard time getting her to stand on my surface here right before I started shooting her. She was falling over quite a bit, and in fact, she's standing okay now, but I had to say it so she would fall, right? I was going to point out that her toe wasn't touching the surface. I'm having a really hard time getting her to stand, so I may possibly pop a little hole on the bottom of her foot and put her on a figure stand, so she doesn't fall off of my shelf all the time, because I kind of foresee this happening, where she's going to be falling off the shelf a lot. So there's one last look at April by herself, and then we'll bring in the original April from the original line and the current Nicktoons April for comparisons. So there you go. There's one last look at April O'Neil. And here we have the last of the figures that I have to show you today. This is the new Shredder. Now, Shredder is pretty cool. He does actually harken back to he does have that classic Shredder look to him. Now, he lacks color, in my opinion. There's a lot of gray and a lot of silver, and that's cool. But he lacks color. I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of black or purple somewhere on him. But anyway, it's not there. He's got this cape. It is removable. This is his accessory that he came with, and this is like a rubber cape, and this looks like it's got these blades on the side here, and I don't know if this is going to be like some kind of a metal mesh or like armor, chainmail. I don't know. It looks like it might be any of these when we see it in movie form. So we'll just have to wait to the movie to see how that's going to look. The figure itself, so this guy just plugs in right in the back there and there, because it does come separate in the package. So when you get this guy, you have to pop the cape on, but it does stay on there pretty good. So I haven't had any problems with it falling. The helmet is not removable, sadly, but this is interesting. The arm armor. Arm armor. Anyway, the arm armor is removable. As you can see, you can just pop it off. It's got a peg there and there, and then it's got these peg holes here and here, and you got this little hook at the top here, so you can just kind of hook it into the shoulder there, and then the whole thing just clips onto the bicep. Why don't we try doing this on camera? Okay, so we got the hook that's going to clip on right there on the top of the shoulder, and then this piece is going to clip onto the bicep, that piece is going to clip onto the forearm. And what's cool here is that you actually have the armor is actually articulated where the elbow would be, so it could follow along with the articulation on the elbow for the figure. So that's actually really neat and really well thought out that they did that with this figure. As far as articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint, but it is actually, I'm lying, it's not on a ball joint, it's on a swivel. So his head only goes side to side on a swivel. You've got a universal joint on the shoulder, and even though you've got all this armor, he's not hindered all that much. His arm doesn't come up quite as much as it could, but it does come up a good range, and you've got the rotation all the way around. As you saw, you've got a good bend at the elbow, and you also have wrist articulation. So if this guy were to have a sword or something like that, he would actually be able to. I don't have a sword for him, so let's put a sai in his. Let's give him Raph sai. So if he were to have a weapon of any kind, you would actually be able to rotate the elbow on him, and that's really neat, I think. He does have a waist articulation. It's just above the waist there, so that's good. And then you've got the legs are weird because the legs have the same pin hinge and pin like April had, so you can't go out with it, but he does a much better job of rotating the leg side to side, so you can actually give him some A stances. And then you've got your up and down. This is going to get in the way a little bit, but you can go off to the side with it, so you can actually go up and to the side with it, so you can actually get a good range of motion. This takes the hinge and pin that April O'Neil had and actually employs it a lot better than that figure did. No rotation at the knee, but again, it's not necessary because you have a good rotation at the hip. You got a bend at the knee, not a 90, because of the armor. He can't quite bend it all as much. But one part of articulation that this figure has that none of the other figures did is he has an ankle tilt. So that's actually pretty cool. This is a really cool figure. It looks like, a lot of people have made the joke, it looks like a Transformer. They call him Shreddertron. And he does look quite a bit mechanized. And again, we'll just have to wait to see the movie to finalize our opinions on that. But as far as the action figure goes, I think that's a really cool looking action figure. So there's one last look at Shredder by himself. And then we'll bring in the original Shredder just to compare. And we'll bring in the two iterations of the current Nickelodeon Shredders. Now, if you're looking at that original Shredder and you're asking yourself why he looks different, that is, in fact, an original Shredder. Well, it's a reproduction. It's the reproductions that came out last year, but as you know, it's the same toy as the original Shredder. But that original Shredder didn't have a shirt, and I never liked that. I never got used to it. It drove me crazy. So that shirt, he's wearing a gray shirt that I made myself. I used the original Splinter's tunic as a template and made a shirt for Shredder here, and I think that upgrades the look of this Shredder 1,000%. He looks so much better with that shirt on than he does without it. So. But anyway, we're talking about the movie line Shredder, and here we have one last look at the Shredder. Okay, guys, that pretty much takes care of all the figures, so we're moving on to the Turtle Assault Van, and I absolutely love this new Turtle Assault Van. It measures approximately 12 inches in length, and it's about 6.5 inches to the top of the roof, 8.5 if you go up here to the top of the radar, and then maybe 9 if you point it up straight up that way. The new Turtle Van, it harkens back to Turtle Vans that we've seen before. It's almost kind of like a mix of the original Party Wagon and the current Shell Racer from the Nicktoons. There's a lot of elements of both of those in this new van. It's got the exterior, the wheels that are offset to the side and kind of elevated, much like the Shell Racer does. There's just a lot of elements that seem to take back from those old vans. It's really cool. Quite possibly the one van with the most openings out of all the vans that we've had before. Just a quick look going all the way around. We've got a really cool decals all the way around the van showing off that turtle shell detail all the way around there. You got some back door with some windows here. I love this little moonroof, the bubble moonroof on the top here. I absolutely love that. I like the little ladder in the front. All the little green and yellow hints really make it pop. It really does just remind me of that old Party Wagon. As far as accessories go, you've got as I showed you here, we've got this radar dish on the top. So this moves up and down, and that's about it. Sadly, no rotation. I would have liked to have seen this thing go around, but it doesn't. And then you've got this, if you move the radar dish out of the way, you've got a rocket launcher up here on the top, and this thing can swivel right here where it's at, but it also comes up. You can actually bring it up all the way, and now you can go all the way around with it. And then you've got this red button right at the top here, and if you push that, it shoots off a missile. Taking a quick look at the missile there so you can see what that looks like. There's your missile for the new Turtle Assault van. I've been having a lot of fun with this van. Like I said, it's got the most openings out of all the vans that we've had so far. You've got an opening side door over here on this side. It just folds down into a ramp. These on the top here where I showed you the moonroof, that opens up as well. So you've got an opening there so you can stand turtles. If you want to stand a turtle here, you can do so. And then also the back doors open up, and there's a good reason for this. There's such a cool action feature with this that we're going to be going into in a minute here. So you've got the opening side door, you got the moonroof, you got the back doors here, and when you go all the way to the front, if you want to mount these guys in here, you've got the whole front end of the van opens up. Very similar to the one from the TMNT animated movie that from a few years back. And you can see in there's two front seats. The steering wheel actually moves forward, so you can get your turtle figures in there and then close them back up to get them into the driving position. And there's a lot of detail in here. You can see a lot speedometers and dials and clocks and wires and all kinds of stuff in there. That's really, really cool. There's a lot of detail that went into this thing. Another accessory for this vehicle is this winch and hook on the front here, and I typically just hook it to the ladder just so it doesn't drag on the ground, but you can see it's got the winch there with the hook. See, I don't want it dragging on the ground like that, so I typically just hang it there, but you can actually pull it all the way out. And let's see, let's hook this up to Shredder here just for giggles. Is there anywhere I can hook it up to Shredder? I don't know. But just for giggles, let's hook it up. Let's hook it to Shredder. There we go, just like that. And then if you wanted to, you could just roll this thing right up and drag in any enemy characters or any vehicles that needed a tow or anything like that. So you got an actual working winch there, which is really, really cool. Awesome feature on this vehicle. Now, so let's get the figures into the vehicle, and then we'll show the action feature last. So let's see. I'm going to mount the figures in the front here, and like I said, the figures, you need to take the weapons off of them to be able to sit them in here. And the figures don't have anywhere to store the weapons or anything like that. Now, what I typically do is I just set the figures on the floorboard on the van there, and it works perfectly fine. Now, these guys aren't exactly going to sit. They're just kind of going to stand here. You kind of just wedge them into the back of the seat there. As you can see, Leo is really just kind of standing there, and he's kind of leaning up against the seat. But when you close up the cab, and you look in there, you can see it just looks like he's in there sitting in the passenger seat and just riding along. So it actually works really well. That reminds me a lot of like the old Masters of the Universe figures and vehicles. If you're familiar with any of those, where the figures didn't really sit ever on anything. I remember Castle Grayskull, the throne was molded in such a way where the figures were in their normal standing pose. You just kind of wedged them into that throne, and they looked like they were sitting. And for a lot of the vehicles was the same way. You just kind of stood them in there, and it looked like they were sitting down and driving the vehicle. So same thing here on this side with Donnie, and you can just wedge him in there. And again, with Donnie, I have his backpack still on. I have not taken his backpack off. And it is possible with this tilting steering wheel, I normally actually get his hands and grip him on the steering wheel. So it is possible. I don't know if I'm going to here. Let's see. Yeah, actually it worked. If it was going to take too long, I wasn't going to do it just for the sake of the video. I don't want this video to go terribly long. But as you can see, Donnie is sitting in his seat, grabbing that steering wheel, and you got Leo sitting right there next to him. So close this up, and there they are, guys. There's our turtles sitting in the driver and passenger seat of the van, and they look perfectly natural, as if they are in fact driving that van. So that looks pretty cool. And then on the back, before we get to the other two turtles, let's get to the last accessory for this vehicle. And that's this little attack luge vehicle here. This thing is really cool. It really does look like a motorized little go-kart of sorts. And this thing is super awesome. This thing is going to load up into the back of the van here. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to take Raph, and I'm going to mount him on the luge vehicle right now. So let's go ahead and do that. And here is Raph mounted onto the luge vehicle. Now, normally I wanted to put Mikey on the luge vehicle. The problem is that the way the seat is curved to accommodate for the shells on these figures, and that's great. The problem is that with Mikey, because he's got this sweater hanging from his back, it doesn't really accommodate for him to go into the seat. And anytime you try to put him into the seat, the sweater just kind of pushes him off. And that's kind of a shame, because I really kind of wanted Mikey to be the one riding the luge vehicle. But that's okay. Raph works just as well, if not better. So we've got Raph mounted on here, and as you can see, the vehicle's got some handles that he can hold on to right there and right there. As you saw, the seat that was rounded off, so that accommodates for the shell rather well. You got a little engine detail on the back here. You got some pedal detail in the front here. However, Raph, because he's such a larger figure than all the others, doesn't do well putting his feet on the pedals. Typically what ends up doing is his feet come out and they hit the wheels and make him stop. So I just kind of put the feet on top of the pedals like that. But really, really cool looking vehicle here. And as you can see, Raph is sitting in there quite securely. He's not falling off. So what's going to happen here now is this guy is going to slide in right into the back of the van right here on this ramp. And as you can see on the back of the vehicle, there's this little hook. Well, if you look in here, let me open the side up, maybe get a little more light in there. If you look inside the vehicle, you'll see that there's a little there's a little port right back here. So we're going to get this hook on the back of this go-kart all the way into that hook back there. So we just slide this guy in here, and then I'll switch over here to the side view so you guys can see that guy just docking in right there. And as I pull on it, you can see this guy's not going anywhere. You can tilt it down. That guy's not going anywhere. We can close these guys, and he's ready to go. Now, what about Mikey, you say? What's Mikey going to do? You know, you've got two turtles on the front seats here, and you've got Raph on the back, pretty much taking the whole back there. So what are you going to do with that fourth turtle? There's a couple of things that you can do. You can open up the moonroof here, and you can just kind of stand Mikey there. However, he'll be standing on top of Raph. So, you know, but that is one way to do it. Or if you're just transporting them, you can just, you know, throw them all in there and just go that way. One thing that I found kind of works with this is I open the door up, and you can actually stand Mikey right here. And I had him at one point just standing in here, just like that. And then you can close the door, and he's in there, and everybody is loaded up and ready to go kick some foot. And when you open the side door up, Mikey is still standing there perfectly fine, exactly the way I left him. So I think that works really good for transportation purposes, just to make Mikey move around. However, if you're going to use the gimmick, you need to get Mikey out of there. So let's get Mikey out, because we want to show off the gimmick. And his foot is stuck. Come on, buddy. Let's get out of there. All right. So there it is. There's everybody loaded up, and we're ready to go. Now, what's going to happen here, I think you got a pretty good idea of what's coming. If you look on the side of the van right here, there's a button. So we're going to take this, we're going to take the van all the way to the end of the table, and we're going to hit this button. And there you see the action feature for this vehicle. It shoots the luge right out. It works so good. The door, you can have the doors open if you want, or you can leave them closed the way I did it just now. Either way works just fine. The luge vehicle shoots out. It actually shoots out. It's got a pretty powerful string, so it'll go some distance. I had to put my hand out and stop it so that he wouldn't fall off the table. And to reset, real simple. I'll open on the side here so you can kind of see how this thing works in here. So you've got this whole platform here. You can do it from the back, or you can do it from the side. Doesn't matter. You just push this platform down, just like so, and that locks into place right there. And if you want, you can bring in the luge vehicle now and go ahead and just mount it on the ramp there, and make sure that that hook is right into that little dock there. As you can see, that vehicle is now not going anywhere, and just push the whole thing back. Now, here's where your spring is at. So this is the part that's actually going to require a little bit of tension on your part. And you just push it all the way back until it clicks. Close those doors and you are ready to go. And we'll do that one more time just to show that off. And there it is. I was blocking it with my finger. So there you go. The launch attack luge, part of the Turtle Assault van for the new 2014 line. Guys, I really love this vehicle, and we'll bring the luge right here once again so we can see them both. This is a really cool set. So there's a final shot of the van by itself. We'll move the luge vehicle out of the way, and for comparison purposes, let's see if we can pull this off in one shot. And we're not going to be able to do all three at the same time, guys, so we're going to have to do one at a time. But for comparisons, we'll bring in the... Well, I'll tell you what. How about we do this? Let's put this guy here. Let's put this guy here. And we'll put this guy here. So there you go, guys. There is all three of the vans side by side, just to get a somewhat of a size comparison, and you guys can see what the three of them look like. Side by side, right in the middle, you've got the 2014 movie line assault van. Over here on the left, you've got the original party wagon. And all the way on the right, you've got the Shell Raiser from the current Nickelodeon Tunes Turtles. So there it is. There's one last shot of all three of them together. And there's a last shot of the Turtle Assault van. And I think that about does it for the new 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie line. Please leave me a comment, give me some thumbs up, subscribe, and share with your friends if you like what you see, and I will talk to you next time.